Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to New Zealand for the first time in quite a wee while actually. It's been a good 8-9 months or something like that since I've reviewed a beer from New Zealand, and this is a brewery that I've not reviewed anything from since back in 2015 when I was visiting my friend Adam in Auckland, so very curious to return to this brewery after quite some time. So for this one we're going to head down to the South Island. I think this brewery are based mainly in Auckland, and we're having a taste of another beer from Behemoth Brewing Company. So this one is called the Lid Ripper. It comes in at 6.9% ABV and it's a New England hazy style IPA this, so really looking forward to this. The last beer I had from these guys was just called the Extra Pale Ale if I remember correctly, and it was really good. This brewery were only just starting up at that time and starting to get their beers out there from what I remember, but the standard of beer in New Zealand, you know, really is something else. They've got all these beautiful hops and things that have got the various kind of Maori names and things like that. They've got some really awesome stuff down there. You know, the quality of beer, especially in Wellington. Wellington is supposed to be one of the best beer cities in the world, so it's somewhere that I really do need to go and visit sometime, but I'd love to go down there and, you know, do the working holiday visa thing for a year, so maybe that's something I'll look at in the future. But I always love reviewing some of these New Zealand beers when I get the chance, but unfortunately in Sweden we don't get that many of them. We usually only get a couple of things like Tuatara, and sometimes we get some Garage Project beers, and every so often you'll see something from the likes of 8 Wired as well, so to find this was really quite rare. I bought this one at the Wellington shop, the malt company shop in Bamberg in Germany, on my little holiday that I took there. So, and I just had to buy this one when I saw it, so really glad that I'm able to review this beer for you here on the channel. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Behemoth. I've reviewed one beer from them before, hopefully it's not such a long gap until the next one. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the New Zealand beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Behemoth Brewing then before we taste the beer, onto my brewery notes. So Behemoth Brewing was founded by Wellington man Andrew Childs back in 2013 after he left his job at home brewing company Mangrove Jacks in the same year. But originally Andrew studied law at Victoria University in Wellington, and then he continued on at Uppsala University here in Sweden, which is a little bit up to the north of Stockholm. But before he returned, and this was just before he returned home to work in the legal sector of the New Zealand government. But he'd always been interested in home brewing, and one New Year's Eve, one of his friends actually suggested that as part of his New Year's resolution, he started brewing beer, and so he did it. But within a year he quit his job at the government and then went to work for the Fork and Knife brewer. But he left this after about 9-10 months after becoming frustrated at the lack of brewing opportunity that he was given there. He spent a lot of his time working behind the bar, but he entered some of his own beers into a competition though, and a number of them won prizes actually. He entered something like 13 beers into a competition that received about 120, so quite a substantial amount in there. But some of them won prizes, and then he actually brewed a couple of beers in a commercial batch with Stu McKinley from Yeasty Boys, who are one of the bigger New Zealand craft beer producers. But soon after he was offered a job at Imaki, which is the parent company for Mangrove Jacks, and during this time he was brewing some commercial beers as well, and this was when the Behemoth Brewing Company was born. But in September of 2015, Andrew and fellow brewer Jason Bathgate from the McLeod's brewery were severely burned when they were by some boiling water when they were brewing the first batch of their In Your Face IPA, and they spent several months in the hospital, but they've now recovered, and Behemoth Brewery is up and going again, and they're continuing to grow. So yeah, they've produced a lot of different beers within their first 4 years or so. They produced something around 100 different beers, and I think on Rate Beer when I was checking it out, there was about 120, 130 different beers registered on there. So they've got an impressive kind of repertoire, if you like, and like I said, I really enjoyed the last beer that I had from these guys back in that would have been around, you know, sort of March March 2015 that I was reviewing the beers from them. So yeah, it was really cool to find this beer in the Wellington shop when I was in Bamberg, because these guys actually do get some of their malt from Wellington, and in the shop that they have at the maltery, they basically sell all the different beers from the people that they supply, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you know, one of these random reviews that comes up every so often, so I was very glad to get a hold of this beer. But that's all you really need to know about Behemoth Brewing Company just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, and as I say, it's just really cool to be able to review something from New Zealand for you after a long time. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one then before we open it up. There you can see, this is the kind of trademark, this kind of monster looking guy. This is the sort of trademark that you'll see on a lot of the Behemoth beers. I do really like their artwork actually. I might have to keep this can because it's quite, you know, as I say, it was really a lucky thing that I came across this beer, but very nicely presented. I like the kind of paintings of the hop flowers in there. It says on the side here, Lid Ripper IPA is our take on an unfiltered hazy IPA made with pale malts, oats and wheat and a special English ale yeast. It is late hopped and dry hopped twice with our favourite American and Australian hops. All this makes for a big juicy IPA which is more restrained in bitterness than our usual IPAs, but what it lacks in bitterness it makes up for with bucket loads of flavour and aroma. Rip the lid and drink it from the can to fully enjoy. It may just rip your lid off the fact that this beer should be crystal clear. P.S. Drink this beer soon, fresh is best, and it tells you a little bit about Behemoth on the side there as well. So yeah, if you want a little look at that, I'll just let the camera focus. And you can pause that if you want, have a read at that. But yeah, it's one of these cans that's similar to the Amundsen Brewery ones that we get from Norway here in Sweden. And yeah, it's, you know, 440ml can. I always complain about these because breweries are using American measurements, like the American pint, instead of just using the European half-litre. Our measurement system, I have to say, I think is better than that, but there's so many breweries doing that these days. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Very curious to see how this one turns out. Oh, geez. That is a big bang there. Sometimes that happens when you do beer reviews. So yeah, we've wasted a little bit of beer with this one, but I'm sure it will be okay. And see, when it exploded, I did actually get a good little bit of hoppy aroma with that. I haven't wasted too much though, the can is still quite full. So we'll get the rest out and into the glass. And we're just going to have to be careful with this, I think, because of how carbonated that was. Let me just take it over to the side here and we'll get the pour done. But that head is fading away fairly quickly. We'll just be very careful with the pour here. And we should, yeah, that's going down quite quickly, yeah. Just bring it back over to the camera there. I'm guessing that's what happened when your beer has travelled quite far. I think that's definitely the biggest explosion that I've had on the channel so far. But yeah. Tell you what we'll do, since they were recommending that we leave some of it in the can, we'll leave a little bit in the can and we'll drink about the can and we'll see if it's any different from drinking it in the glass. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice, bright, yellow, golden colour there. There's a solid 2 fingers of, I would say, a cream colour here on this one. It is quite bumpy there, and that must have just been because of how excited this can got. You know, when the beers travel in such big distances, sometimes that's going to happen. It's happened once or twice on the channel with Belgian beers. Didn't expect it from from a New Zealand beer right enough, which was kind of interesting. But yeah, as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice kind of bright yellowy golden orange. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see it's quite hazy, this one. You're not going to get anything through that, which is what you'd expect from one of these New England style IPAs. The head is going down quite nicely, and yeah, so pretty much nothing surprising from this beer in terms of appearance. A little bit of surprise when you bring it out of the can when it goes bang, of course, but yeah, nicely presented beer, or nice looking beer, this one. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we got on with this beer. Incidentally, the hops in this one are Citra, Mosaic, Galaxy and Lemon Drop, and it's got a malt base of wheat malt, of pale malt, wheat malt, oats, flaked oats and pale malt. And I can get rid of the brewery notes now that we've done that. We can get on to the tasting side of this beer now. But yeah, it looks really nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Ooh, yeah. First thing I'm noticing about this right away, good bit of lemon sherbet out there. That's the Lemon Drop hops all the way through on this one. But lovely little bit of mango as well, that'll be the Citra coming out. I think there's a good little bit of passion fruit in there too, which will be the Galaxy, and some oranges. Yeah, that'll be the mosaic. So for me, yeah, lemons, the lemony note in this one is quite strong, I think. I think it's the lemon note that's sort of forming the linchpin of the beer on the fruity side of things. But yeah, nice little bit of a lemony quality to this one. Mangoes, like I was saying. Passion fruits, tangerines. There's a little bit of pineapple in there as well, which can be one of the more subtle things that you'll get from the Australian Galaxy. A little bit of like lychee, lemon limey notes as well coming out. That'll be one of the complexities of the Citra. But yeah, it smells very tropically, this one, but it's got a good kick from the lemon drop hop in this one. I really like that about the aroma of this beer. But there's some nice floral aromaticity to it as well, a little bit of grassiness. Yeah, definitely a little bit of grassiness in there, which is what you expect. And the malt base has a good bit of a presence as well. You can definitely pick up some of the creamy notes from the oat in this one. You can pick up a nice bit of that pale malt in there. You can smell a little bit of that German malt in here. I think it was the pale malt, it said on the website, was a Weimann malt, and that of course was why I was able to buy this beer in Germany. But yeah, lovely smell and malt base this one. Good bit of wheaty bready note, a little bit of that German pale malt in there. You can definitely pick that up. Sweet oats, I think a little touch of biscuit or something in there as well. I don't know if the New Zealanders would call it biscuit or cookies, like Vitti's digestive sort of thing. So yeah, really interesting aroma from this beer. I thought it would be a New Zealand hopped one. When I bought it, I just saw it was from Behemoth. I was like, right, I'll take one of those. I didn't realise that it wouldn't have been a New Zealand hopped beer, this one. That's what I was hoping for when I saw it was a New Zealand brewery. But yeah, it's still something from New Zealand, which is great. So let's have a taste of this beer and just see how we got on then. So this one is the Lid Ripper, and maybe they should call it the Lid Banger or something like that after it exploded on me. But yeah, nice looking beer, this one. It smells really interesting. Take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you get stuck in. But let's have a taste of this beer then. Slàinte, skål, prost. Or chur, as they seem to say. But yeah, so I will say with this beer, the carbonation on it is obviously quite active. I don't think that's the conditioning. We'll get the rest of this in. Let's just see how it is, a little bit of the rest of it is in the can. Yeah, it's very carbonated. Obviously, this beer's been disturbed a little bit, and I don't think that would just be from me bringing it over on the plane back from Germany, because I have had other beers in the cans that haven't behaved like that. I think this is when it's been on the ship from New Zealand or something like that. But yeah, you will with this one, when I'm tasting it, the carbonation is pretty active in it. Let's just say that. Yeah. So yeah, with this beer then, it's actually got a really nice bit of flavour in it. So in the middle of your palate, let's take the malt base first. You can feel some of that pale malt just blanket in the middle of your tongue there. On top of that, you get a nice little bit of the kind of wheaty bready note. You can feel that slightly thicker bready quality just sitting on top of your tongue. There's a nice bit of oaty creaminess in there too. And I would say that there's also a little bit of a biscuity sweetness. I mean, the malt base isn't really anything surprising. It's pretty much what you would expect from one of these New England IPAs. But I will say that it is just quite nicely balanced. I like how all these flavours are kind of combining together. The carbonation, of course, is changing it a little bit, but there's not really much we can do about that with this one. But yeah, the way that the malt base goes together in this is really nice. It's not the creamiest of New England IPAs that I've had before, but in terms of the way the flavours come out, it is really nice. And as I say, this beer uses an English yeast strain as well, or London ale yeast I would guess it would be. But yeah, I like what this, how all these flavours go together. The malt base in this one is really nice and quite smooth, and that's what I like about it. It's not, as I say, not the creamiest of New England IPAs that you're going to come across, but it's got a good little bit of flavour, and the malt base has a good presence to it. I always think you get a bit more complexity out of the beer if the malt base has a good bit of presence to it. Some of them are all focused on just blasting you with hops, and for me that's not really it. The New England IPAs, of course, are more about the kind of juiciness of the fruity qualities, if you like, but this one certainly has a very good balance between that. In the middle of the palate, I think there's a little touch of an almost biscuity flavour to this beer as well, which is nice. But on the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, you've got a little tiny touch of earthiness there. I think that's the mosaic hop coming out, but as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, pardon me, that just smooths out a little bit. The carbonation's getting to me, but it just smooths out a little bit, and you've got some of that nice, you've got a little bit of that nice, slightly spicier floral aromaticity on the front corners of the palate. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and grassy, and of course the beer starts to come alive when you go to that little oily bubble behind the front curve of your tongue, and that's where these nice, juicy, fruity esters start to come out from the hops. But yeah, the carbonation actually has calmed down a little bit of this now, and you're starting to get more of the smoothness out of it, and I'm finding that the malt base on this one, it starts to open up a little bit more. The beer just kind of mellows out. So maybe that's one of the things, if you are drinking a can of this and it's been imported, just open it up, let it settle, and then drink it. You can't really do that when you're doing a beer review though, that's the unfortunate thing. But yeah, on the fruity side of things with this beer, it's got a really nice blend of things going on. You can pick out, for me it's the sort of mangoes from the Citra and the passion fruit from the Galaxy in this one that's just kind of forming the base of this. It's mainly a mango passion fruity sort of base you're getting from this. On top of that, the further that you go into the flavour, the oranges, the tangerine oranges come out just a little bit later on, and that's from the mosaic. Yeah, definitely a good chunk of orange in there, and I think it's got a nice lemony quality to it. You can just feel towards the front of the tongue a little bit. Around the edge of your palate, I think there's a nice just lemony quality. It's almost like a lemon sherbety sort of thing. The lemon drop is a really interesting hop in that regard, and you can really feel that, I think, around the front kind of edge of your tongue there. Right on the tip of your tongue, I think there's a little bit of an almost limey quality in there as well, and also some of the kind of blueberry notes too. And I think there's a little bit of an almost pineapple-y flavour to it as well. The blueberry notes, it was one of my friends actually was telling me, he found that when we were drinking these mosaic single hop beers, it's always a tangerine orange, but then right on the tip of your tongue you usually get a little bit of blueberry or something. And ever since he's mentioned that descriptor to me, that's always just stuck with me. You always find that, at least I find, with the mosaic hop, whenever it's used you just get this little touch of blueberry on the very, very front tip of your tongue there, and I really like that about that hop. Mosaic's quickly become one of my favourite hops, but a lot of brewers are using it these days again, which is cool. The Galaxy from Australia seems to be a very popular hop as well. But yeah, it really is a nice beer, this one. I like how everything is going together. It's got everything you would want from a New England IPA. A lovely smooth malt base, nice little touch of hoppy bitterness there. I would say in total the IBUs in this beer must only be around 30 or so, but it's got a lovely juicy fruity quality to it as well. You just need to watch out that it doesn't blow up on you. I keep saying that though. But yeah, in terms of the flavour profile, really, really nice beer this one. So a thumbs up to Behemoth Brewing Company once again. So in terms of the mouthfeel then, and this is where this review maybe won't be quite the most accurate because of what happened with the beer, but I would say mid-bodied beer, this one. Carbonation is a little bit overactive, but I can imagine when it's a little bit, when it hasn't been transported like that, it would be quite smooth. And overall, the mouthfeel of this beer, I think again it would be quite a smooth beer if it was on its own. There's a little touch of an oily quality in there which helps bring out some of the fruity juicy notes for me, but the mouthfeel of this beer I think generally would be quite a smooth, not one of the creamier New England IPAs I've come across, but it would be quite a smooth one with some lovely you know, it has a little bit of an oily quality which brings out some of these juicy fruity notes. Nice little bit of hoppy bitterness, as I said, I reckon around 30 IBUs for this one. Smooth malt base to it as well. A little touch of sweetness in there, I think a little bit of biscuit flavour, but some lovely juicy fruity qualities in there as well. There's a lot of fruit complexity to this one. And overall it is just a very nicely done New England IPA this. So as I said, a big thumbs up to Behemoth Brewing Company once again. I was glad I was able to find one of their beers and review that for you again on the channel after quite some time. But let's leave it at that for this one. The Lid Ripper, a really nice New England IPA. It's 6.9%. It's dangerously drinkable for being 6.9%, and that's one of the things with this style. You can put a lot of alcohol in it and they can still be ridiculously drinkable. But another very, very nice tasting beer from Behemoth Brewing Company. I'm not surprised based on my last experience I had with them, but I do hope that I can review some more of their beers in the fairly near future. But for this one, thank you for watching my reviews, and please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Behemoth Brewery in New Zealand. Do let me know some of the other New Zealand breweries that I should keep an eye out for. Hopefully we can start to get some more of their beers over here in Europe, because more and more of the breweries are using the New Zealand hops, so hopefully that opens up the doors. But hopefully I can return to New Zealand in the fairly near future as well. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This was the Lid Ripper New England IPA from Behemoth Brewing Company in Wellington in New Zealand. Really cool to return to New Zealand for a review from Behemoth since the first time since 2015. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slàinte, skål.